Hey everybody, this is your GM, your back row Domus, your GM who currently is not on the team right now, but don't you worry about it. Kale, here to bring you episode 6 of the Stack and Shed series. Now, in this series, we're covering all 32 teams, so nobody is neglected. Everybody gets a turn, okay? Now, in this series, we're covering a few different topics, and those topics include what went wrong, what do they need, stack or shed, their draft picks, one move I would do, and their cap space. Now, in this episode, we're covering the Falcons. So buckle up. It's going to be a little bit crazy, but we're going to get through it. So let's lock in. All right, let's get into it. So what went wrong in the Falcons season? And I will venture to say it was a lack of quarterback stability. Going into last season, we knew that Kirk Cousins had become frustrated with the organization, and we also knew that there was mounting pressure for Michael Penix to start. Now, I don't believe that if Kirk Cousins or Michael Penix became the week one starter, that it would have changed the outcome of the season. Because at the end of the day, the Falcons are still far away from being contenders. Now, according to NFL Pro, in the 9 games that Michael Penix started, he was 276 attempts for 166 completions, 1,982 passing yards, 9 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 7.2 yards per attempt, and a 60.1 completion percentage. In the 10 games that Kirk Cousins played, he was 269 attempts for 166 completions, 1,721 passing yards, 10 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 6.4 yards per attempt, and a 61.7 completion percentage. Now ask yourself this. Do you believe that the Falcons offense played better under Michael Penix or Kirk Cousins? Somebody let me know under the comments on our YouTube page at Football Junkies Pod. Because honestly speaking, neither one of them played significantly better than the other. Now I know someone's rebuttal is, well, Kirk Bangs and Kyle Pitts was cooking the Buccaneers defense on that Thursday night game. They were dipping and dying all over the field, and the Buccaneers defense didn't have an answer for it. Kirk Cousins can do no wrong in my eyes. Now, with that being said, what do the Falcons need? And that is more patience from ownership, better decision making on building the roster, and stability at quarterback. Now I understand that Arthur Blank wants to experience winning football again. And I understand that he wants to experience being in the Super Bowl again. But he needs to be honest with himself. You still have a question mark at quarterback. You still need to figure out what you're going to do at other positions on this team. And you need to figure out if Kevin Stefanski is the guy. So when you factor all these things in, you need to be a little bit more patient. Now, am I saying that Raheem Morris was going to be the answer to all of their troubles? No. But I think Raheem Morris showed enough towards the second half of the season where you can say, you know what, let's run it back one more time. And if you ran it back one more time and you had the same outcome that you just had this past season, then get rid of him. But you can't just say, we want to be competitive, we want to win a championship, but you're continuing to fire head coaches in less than 3 years. At some point, you have to give these coaches a chance. This stuff takes time. And it also doesn't help when you continue to make dumb decisions when it comes to this roster. And since we're talking about the roster, let's talk about the former GM. How is it that he was able to give a $100 million contract to Kirk Cousins, who's coming off a torn Achilles, draft Michael Penix with the 8th pick in that draft class, and then retrade back into the first round to draft James Pierce, who's no longer going to be able to play in the league again? Those are the type of decisions that push your team back by years. But you wouldn't know that because all you're looking at is the play on the field and not looking at the roster construction. The roster construction is just as important as what you see on the field. But you wouldn't realize that because you're so focused on winning, and the way that you're going about trying to win is the wrong way. As I've said before in multiple episodes, every single chance that I get, the only way that you can truly be competitive and win a championship is if you hit on your draft picks and you have an infrastructure of success. If you don't have those two things in play, you're not going to be successful. I don't care what receiver you have. I don't care what running back you have. I don't care what offensive lineman you have. It won't work. And that's been a problem with the Falcons for a very long time. Now, stability at quarterback is a little bit tricky, and here's why. We all know that Michael Penix is still recovering from injury, and we know he won't be able to hit the field anytime soon. We also know that Kirk Cousins is going to be released at the start of the new league year, which means you're going to have to find a bridge quarterback for the time being. Now, the question is this. if you're the Falcons, even though you don't have a lot of draft picks, do you at least take a swing on someone like a Cade Klubnik, a Garrett Nussmeier, or Drew Aller? Because at this point, you won't have an answer to this problem until Michael Penix gets healthy and you figure out what you're going to do at quarterback long term. Now, with that being said, the question we all need to ask ourselves is stack or shed. And I would venture to say stack. And the reason why I say this is because there's no need for you to shred what you have right now. Instead, you need to learn from your mistakes, move forward, and create a realistic plan on how you're going to change things around. Now, if that means that you have to trade away somebody, okay, fine, do it. If it means that you have to cut somebody, hey, oh well, it's a business. And let's be honest here. The Falcons are operating in a cycle of insanity hoping for a different outcome. And it's not going to happen. Now, the only way they can break out of this cycle is by admitting that their current approach to the game of football is outdated and unsuccessful. Now, when we look at their draft picks, they have their second, their third, their fourth, their sixth, and seventh. Now, what I'm about to say is very controversial, but just hear me out. I think the Falcons have a chance to sneak into the first round. And the reason why I say this is because this draft class doesn't have a lot of blue chip talent, right? It is talented, but it doesn't have that type of talent that we've seen in previous draft classes, which means that a lot of teams are probably going to trade down or just trade out of the first round altogether. I believe that the second and third round is the sweet spot in this draft class. And I believe there's going to be a lot of high quality players that everybody wants that's going to be in those draft classes. So if you're the Falcons, could you possibly entertain the idea of maybe trading into the first round? Now, you may have to give up a player or you may have to tap into the 27 draft stock, but you're going to have to do something. However, if you feel like the draft board is working in your favor, then just stay put. But remember this, when it's time for you to submit your pick, please, 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 please make sure you make the right pick. Do not do anything stupid because I promise you, if you do something stupid, you're going to lose the fan base, which, I mean, you've already lost the fan base right now, but you know what? That's another story for another day, all right? Now, the one move that I would do is sign a veteran bridge quarterback, specifically somebody that has worked with Kevin Stefanski. Now, the first person that comes to mind is Joe Flacco. But hear me out for a moment, and I know this is going to contradict everything I just said. What if you can try to smooth things out with Kirk Cousins? Hear me out. If you're the Falcons, if you're Kevin Stefanski, what would it take for Kirk Cousins to stay with the Falcons? Because I don't believe the relationship is just burned all the way. I do believe you can work through it. But the only way that you can work through it is if you put everybody in the room and you hash it out. I think if you run it back with Kirk Cousins just one more year, I think that's good enough. Because right now, outside of Joe Flacco, there's no other good options available. Are you going to pay $30+ million for Malik Willis? No. Are you going to trade for Tua? No. Are you going to trade for Kyler Murray? No. So then what are you going to do at quarterback? Now, if you're Kirk Cousins, you probably have 1,001 reasons on why you want to leave the Falcons. But just hear me out. You had success with Kevin Stefanski. You know that if you don't go to the Vikings, you're not going to be successful anywhere else. Even if it means you have to take a reduced salary, do it. Because at this point, if you go anywhere else, they're going to treat you like a bridge quarterback. No one is going to commit to you long term. When we look at the Falcons cap situation, they have $30.6 million, which isn't bad, but they can create more if they restructure some deals, cut a few people, trade away some people, you know, the same generic business stuff that every single team does, right? Now, do I expect the Falcons to be big players in free agency? No. I think at best, they'll probably be really active in that second and third wave free agency. However, I do expect the Falcons to try to re-sign some of their players such as Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and maybe some players on the defensive side. But I'm going to end this episode here. If you guys like what you were listening, please make sure you guys leave a 5-star review on anywhere and everywhere that you can listen to podcasts, okay? We are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and a few other places. Now, if you want to access those other places, go on Google, type in rss.com Football Junkies Podcast. It should be the first link. When you click on that link, it'll take you to our rss.com page where you can listen to this podcast on your online browser. There should be a box that says listen to. When you click on that, it'll give you a plethora of different places that you can listen to this podcast on, all right? Now, you can follow us on YouTube at Football Junkies Pod. Football Junkies Pod. And remember, we have a link tree in our bio. When you click on that link tree, it'll take you to anywhere and everywhere that we have Football Junkies content, okay? Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, turn that notification bell on, leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on anything and everything that I have covered in this episode, as well as other episodes. Am I right? Am I wrong? Let's talk about it, okay? You can follow me on TikTok at Football Junkies Pod. Football Junkies Pod. I got a whole lot of clips I got to post. Give me some time, all right? You can follow me on Instagram at football_junkies pod. Football_junkies pod. Junkies Pod is now what? It is together, not spaced. Okay, it is together, not spaced. Football_junkies pod. You can follow me at Blue Sky at GMKale. GMKAILE. All right, GMKAILE. You can follow me on Twitter at GMKale. GMKAILE. All right. As always, I hope I gave you guys a fix that you guys need. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys for listening to the best football podcast that you can listen to on a week-to-week, day-to-day basis. And this is your GM Kale signing out. Peace and love. Later, guys.